G'day guys, and welcome back to the Condor Vehicle Sales Showroom. Welcome to another review, of which we're going to be looking at the Mercedes-Benz C220d AMG line estate. It's a lovely car. Let's get to it. So as always, we'll start with the exterior of the car. This particular one is in a metallic obsidian black, which is obviously what Mercedes called a metallic black paint. And it also has the factory upgrade 19-inch AMG style alloy wheels, which in all honesty I think really does complete the car. I think it sets it off on the right path. I think it's a massive improvement from the previous Mercedes-Benz C-Class generation. It's got a real nice sleek executive look to it. Got some lovely daytime running lights, which you can see that are on there now. Nice big Mercedes badge at the front grille, some lovely chrome splitter bits on the front bumper. I think it's a huge improvement. And from the rear, it keeps that executive and sleek look. Some lovely LED rear tail lights on that one there. A nice diffuser bumper cutaway with some lovely chrome exhaust tips. A great level of boot space with the seats up. It's got a whopping 490 litres capacity. And with the seats down, it's a whopping 1,510 litres of capacity. Now, it's fair to say that I'm a big fan of these Mercedes-Benz estates. I think they look fantastic. I think they give great practicality. So let's get on to the road review. So then guys, join me in the Mercedes C-Class, of which I've just introduced to you in the showroom there. As always, we like to do a road review of the vehicle too. So this is the Mercedes-Benz C220d AMG line with the 7G-tronic gearbox. Now that's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is the AMG line is their cosmetic side of things. It looks sporty, and it is sporty. You get a few extra trick bits in here as well. You get slightly stiffer suspension, and this particular one has got the upgraded 19-inch alloy wheels, genuine from factory, and I think they look fantastic. They really set the car off. It's equipped with the 220d engine, and the 220d is a 2.1 four-cylinder turbo diesel producing 170 brake horsepower. And I think, again, it all depends what you want from an estate car, but I think that's brilliant. And this is also right on the cusp. I think it's one of the better generations to have, because it's a 2016 with the Euro 6 engine, and the Euro 6 of course means that you can take it into London throughout their ultra low emission zones and not be penalised. But it is also before the ridiculous tax bracket thing they brought in for the 2017 cars. So it means that this one's only £30 a year to tax. And I think that's brilliant, don't you? So going back towards the engine side of things, the economy is very strong. It all depends how you rate it within the engine range, because you can get the C200, which I think is about 145 brake horsepower. The C220, which I'm in today, is 170 horsepower. And then you've got the C250, which is the same engine. It's a 2.1 turbo diesel four-cylinder, but it's a twin turbo on that one there. So you do get a bit more of a punch for it. But of course, because you're getting that extra power, the emissions go up slightly, and it's no longer £30 a year to tax. It's got the 7-speed gearbox, which is brilliant. The gear shifter is actually up on the right-hand side here, which, you know, if you've driven Mercedes before, you'll think that's relatively normal, but there's nothing down here reference the gear lever. It's all on this bit here, which means that everything else is on this stalk here. But we'll get into that in just a minute. The 7-speed gearbox, I think it copes very, very well. You know, you've got no lag in sense of pulling away. It seems to find its gear relatively easily. Sometimes I find with these new gearboxes that have got 10 gears in some of them, you could be going along at a road speed and then come to a slight incline, and there's almost like a hesitation because the gearbox doesn't really know what gear it wants to be in. But having 7-speed, it's kind of eliminates that side of things, and you still sit on the dual carriageway doing 70 miles an hour, and you're doing about 1200, 1250 revs, so it keeps the emissions really quite low, which in turn means that Mercedes give it astronomical figures on a run. So this one, they reckon you'll be able to do 68 miles to the gallon, and as previously mentioned, I always take those with a pinch of salt. But realistically, I think if you were to achieve 60 miles to the gallon on a run in a vehicle of this size, with the practicality that it offers, I'd be really pleased with that. 170 brake horsepower as well. It doesn't feel slow. It's not the quickest thing out there. I wouldn't take it street racing, but very capable for what you'd need, I would say. Bringing it on to the interior of this Mercedes C-Class, it's obviously in many people's eyes a big upgrade from their previous generation, and I think it was a needed upgrade. In all honesty, I think for a long time Mercedes, as much as they have always been good quality, genuine German engineering cars, they lacked a little bit on the style side of things, but I think they really turned it around with this particular model here. In order to do that, they've had to move a couple of bits, which is a little bit unlike what German manufacturers do. So down here, as mentioned, there is no gear selector, and it allows all of this space here to be your control unit for the screen. It's a little bit complicated to get around in the first instance. It looks really smart and it is quite intuitive, but you do have to sit and you have to really kind of focus for 5 minutes to try and get your bearings and how it all works. But you've got, subheadings to allow what is shown on the screen. So navigation brings up your map, pressing radio obviously turns the radio on and brings it up on there, some nice Radio X. And then media, because you can stream through your phone, Bluetooth, and CD player, etc., as well, all within that media tab. Telephone, which of course where you pay your phone. Your car, it'll also give you nice menus, and you can go through vehicle settings. You can arrange and set up what your dynamic select modes do. It can show you trip computers. It is a very useful system to have, but just a little bit clumsy with how it all goes, because you've got your dial down here which turns and rotates through the menus. You can also push this dial and it'll then give you two more menus above, and these two menus here are pretty much what these buttons here, so it almost seems a little bit unnecessary, to be honest. This is a touch sensitive pad that sits over the dial, and it's very easy to you can use that to swipe, but then when you turn in that, what's the real need? It almost seems like there's three things doing the same job, and sometimes that can just get a little bit in the way. But by doing that, your gear selector's up on the right hand side here. You've got your wiper and your indicator arm both on the same one just here. Your cruise control just below, which again is really easy to set up, so you can just, when you're going at a certain speed, pull that back towards you. It then continues your speed at the one that you were just doing. The second you touch your brake, it cancels it out. So again, easy. Your window switches are just to the right hand side here on the door card, with your mirror adjustments just above. Nothing's out of reach, it's all very easy. Your light switch is just down here. Like most things nowadays, it's got the automatic xenon lights along with the automatic wipers. You've got your multifunctional steering wheel, which has got a flat bottom to it, which is really quite nice. Again, keeping with that leather, the leather's really nice around there. You've got your paddle shift at the back, which is finished in a nice chrome finish because it goes with the rest of the steering wheel here. You've got your volume and audio controls on the right hand side. You've then got another little menu just in on the dashboard here where you can go through trip computers, navigation, radio and things like that. So as much as there is so much for it to offer, I almost think sometimes it's a little bit too much. It can be a little bit overkill, and once you've got everything set the way that you want to set it, no one really messes with their car controls, but it would just be nice just to have been that little bit easier to use. And like most manufacturers do of this era, they offer different driving modes, so you can have a dynamic selection, so they call it. Again, intuitive, easy enough. You've just got to switch down here. Every time you start the vehicle, it starts it in comfort mode, which is kind of a bit of both, as it were. You can knock it down, puts it into eco mode, and the eco mode, it makes everything a little bit dull, but at the same time it's doing what it's supposed to do. You're supposedly saving fuel, so your throttle becomes less responsive, and obviously your start and stop is automatically on when you put it into the eco mode, and it keeps that on for it as well. Going back up the other way, you've got sport mode where your throttle becomes more responsive and your steering becomes slightly heavier, and much like BMW, they've got a Sport Plus mode, and a Sport Plus mode does everything that Sport does, but then it also just restricts the limitation of your traction control. So it allows the rear wheels to spin, because of course being German they are predominantly rear wheel driven, and this one's no exception. It allows those rear wheels to spin, but it doesn't turn the traction control off completely. You don't want to be pulling away from a roundabout in Sport Plus and ending up facing the other way. So again, only really use that if you kind of expect what to happen. You can, though, on this particular one, set up what is an individual. So the individual allows you to set up whether you want your engine to be in comfort or sport or eco, your steering to be in normal or sport, and then you can change your settings whether you want that start and stop to be on there automatically, how strong you want the air conditioning pump to be working, because again with eco mode you can almost have it so it just cuts in and out when it feels that it needs to, which of course uses less power from the engine, becomes more efficient. So the individual, it really does allow you to set those up for yourself. Again, how hard is it to go from eco to comfort to sport? But the individual, it's a nice thing to have because a lot of people will be quite particular with how they actually want it set up. It does make a difference. You know, you can tell the throttle's a little bit more responsive and you can tell the steering's a little bit heavier. It doesn't give you any more power in that moment. It doesn't reduce any kind of acceleration times or anything like that. But it does make you feel a bit more sporty, and in the right roads, it's always quite nice to have that option, I think. So to finish up more so on the road review, it's a very comfortable car to be in. It's a nice quiet cabin. You've got all the creature comforts that you would necessarily want. It's a very modern finish in this current era that I'm currently in. The only thing I would say is, although this is the AMG line premium, which is quite high up their specification list, there is also the AMG line Premium Plus, and the Premium Plus does come with better creature comforts, it's fair to say. So you've got fully electric heated memory seats, you've got the command navigation system, which is a slightly bigger screen with a nicer LED aspect to it. You've got the electric opening panoramic sunroof. They both come as standard with the rear reversing camera, so they do share some of the good qualities, but I think the Premium Plus just has that nicer finish to it. You've also got the Burmester sound system in the Premium Plus. Not to say that this one's necessarily bad, but obviously the Burmester is very, very good. So I almost think if you were to be looking at C250d Premium Plus, which is the 2.1 turbo diesel twin turbo and Premium Plus specification with, as I say, the Burmester, the electric opening panoramic roof, the command system, it becomes almost an entirely different car. They look very much the same on the exterior, and if you used to sit in one for a brief second, you think, yeah, they're very much the same. But when you actually come to use a practicality and what the specifications offer to you, the Premium Plus, I think, would just be that next level. Of course, whenever you're moving up in any kind of level in terms of car specification, there comes a premium of price as well. So I would almost suggest that if you could stretch to that Premium Plus side of things, it might be worth doing so, especially if you're going to be in the car a lot. But I certainly wouldn't disregard the AMG line Premium, which we're in today. I still think it's a cracking car. I think it's very, very comfortable. I think you get amazing MPG. The 170 horsepower, it's ample enough. Like, you can pull away and feel that you're going to get there, and you're not going to be in any kind of dangerous situation. You know, it's all very easy to use once you've got it set up. As I say, there are various different ways to do the same job, but when you find the one that you want to fit with, brilliant, that's what you need. And yeah, I mean, I'll see you back in the showroom. We'll finish it off. And there we have it. That's my review of the Mercedes-Benz C220d AMG line that we've just taken into stock. Any questions, give me a shout. If you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.